You can go into a high-level monolith and find a... Oh my goodness! Mike, you know better. Like running to the outside like an idiot. Okay, let me just pretend that didn't happen for a second.
Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG. I'm your host Aaron, and for today's video we're headed to the world of Last Epoch. Mike, one of the senior developers at 11th Hour Games, held his normal Friday Q&A live stream on Twitch, which means I get to bring you Dev Chat 54. Mike answered a lot of good questions and gave us a pretty serious leak that I have to admit I am pretty excited for. Now before we begin, it is now early June, and I'm hoping today is the day I have earned your subscription. I'm hoping today is the day you make the decision to push that little red button. I would really appreciate it. Helps push the channel forward in 2022. On top of that, I've officially started a Patreon. Thank you to the first 40 members that have signed up. Become an instant ARPG VIP and get Patreon exclusive content at the first link in the description. Right now, we just put up Podcast 18. Lots of good content coming down the pipe, and the podcasts are very entertaining. So check that out, first link in the description. All right, as always, I will share my thoughts. Please feel free to share yours in the comment section below. Here we go, right now. The first thing I want to show you is the theme of the week. You'll understand.
Last week, or 2 weeks ago, I think. Here. And so the theme of this week is related. We'll say that.
Ooh. It's gonna be a Forge Guard themed week. That's Manifest Armor. I get asked this next question a lot. I'm gonna allow Mike to read it.
Considered it an ultra rare crafting material with that can add LP to uniques. Absolutely, we considered it. We intentionally said no, that we weren't going to do it, specifically because it creates an additive rarity to legendary potential on uniques, and that it skews the chance to get it a lot. So say you have like two items that can drop that can cause like two different things. Once you add a second item to the pool that can give that unique legendary potential, the item itself just having legendary potential, or this other unique that gives it legendary potential, the chances of having a legendary potential version of a unique that you want is the chance of each of those dropping independently added together. So it's an additive chance modifier, not a multiplicative chance modifier. And multiplicative chance modifiers, you can have be really small effects. So you can be like, okay, well this will actually increase the overall chance of getting legendary whatever item by maybe like 1%. But if you have something that's additive, it will frequently do it by way more. So the only way we could actually make that be possible but still be like reasonable to add into the game without having to also simultaneously nerf the chance of getting legendary potential on the item, or just the drop rate of that item overall on the ones that are really rare, we would basically have to make the chance of this thing dropping so ultra mega rare that it's just there's no point in having it. So it's one of those things where it causes too many like, why is this so rare moments on other items by adding it in. So we can't really add it in.
He also someone asked about, well, what about like a mirror, right? And he basically gives the exact same answer. Mirror's something that's super rare in PoE. He said maybe for like a challenge in the future, but as of right now, no plans. I thought this next question was kind of interesting. How does the LE devs feel about the current state of melee versus ranged as far as character and builds inside of Last Epoch?
It's so tricky because there's such a big diversity in melee builds. So like, and not all melee builds are created equal, right? So like Warpath is a melee build. It's so unbelievably different than even Flame Reeve, that's a melee build, right? Like, and it's hard to kind of make a generalized statement there. I think that there might be a little too many boss mechanics that favor ranged builds right now.
Yes.
I'm gonna make a generalized statement.
I mean, that is a factual statement.
And most of the time, we try and give melee builds better defensive options. There's less need to interact with as many of those big mechanics, but sometimes it's not really. It doesn't come through fully, and you end up just spending less time DPSing because you have to move and you can't attack from a certain range, which is sort of the inherent. It's like that's the push and pull of melee versus ranged. Is usually melee builds are beefier, tankier, can handle more stuff, but you know the area on the screen that you're capable of dealing damage to an enemy in is smaller. And I can see there's some mechanics I've seen suggested that would favor melee more. And sometimes we do try and slip in boss mechanics where we're like, well, this hits range, this hurts ranged only, or this hurts melee only, and we'll definitely put those mechanics in pretty intentionally. Sometimes putting them side by side. Sometimes the version of that mechanic, like say we put in one that's like really hard on range and one that's really hard on melee, and we put them side by side, but the one that's really hard on melee ends up being worse to deal with. It can sometimes cause issues.
Mike is currently playing a melee build. It's kind of a summoning build because he has squirrels. Let's see how he does versus the boss, based upon that last question he answered.
And if you have plans to relevel several skills, you can go into a high-level monolith and find a... Oh my goodness! Mike, you know better.
I'm sorry, Mike. I had to put that in.
Running to the outside like an idiot. Okay, let me just pretend that didn't happen for a second.
Can't let that happen.
Yep. Yep. It's not embarrassing at all. Totally fine.
Totally embarrassing. I love it. We have come to the big leak of the video. Check this out.
So this is we've got the old and the new version of a skill, the visual display for a skill that I'm going to show you right now. I'm not going to say which side. So it's going to be a side by side of the old one and the new one. And I'm not going to tell you which one's the old one and which one's the new one, because it can be tricky to spot the difference. But I want to see who can spot the difference first.
All right.
So if you think you see the difference, let me know.
I'm ready.
What it is. Here we go.
Well, the left one is obviously the new one.
Can anyone see the difference? Only the true detectives among you will be able to spot the difference.
It's crazy looking at how bad the old model was.
Yeah, just get Pam. They're the same thing.
It's like a beefy fire dude. Manifest armor.
So yeah, you may have noticed that the sword and shield are a little reminiscent of the image we showed you previously. Those were the early model versions of the sword and shield for manifest armor. It's getting a little bit of a glow up, you know. We think it's a little bit better. The one on the left was made by taking the Sentinel, taking the Primalist, and equipping some gear to it that we had, and then replacing the character texture with this like blue glowy VFX effect that we got out of some pack somewhere, that gave it like a lightning body that was holding the armor together. And finally, we have an actually properly modeled specifically for this ability character. And that's not that image you see. That's not like concept art. That's a screenshot. That's what it looks like.
Pretty impressive.
So,
do you want to see more?
Little turnabout sheet. So this is just the same thing as before, but get a little bit better view of it, so you can see from different angles what's going on. I don't know why I'm stopping now to do this. I just glanced down and noticed we don't have much time left in stream. But this boy looks great, rocking around. I think what it was, I was like, he would look really good in this map, especially with all the blue and the red stick out. And I did not set it to loop. Noob, Mike, rookie mistake.
Noob. All right, everyone, we have come to our final question, and I'm allowing Mike to take out the video by talking about shrines and how they are going to work for multiplayer. 11th Hour Games, thank you for continuing these Friday live streams. The community really appreciates it. It's great to be able to connect with a dev directly and get questions answered. Everybody watching, check out my Patreon. Lots of good information on it. You could check out the podcast to become an instant ARPG VIP and get access to me on the Discord at the first link in the description. I have 20 viable build guides in the description as well that have advanced build planners and advanced loot filters. That's all I've got. Enjoy this final question.
The shrines are partly shared then in multiplayer. They're completely shared. Well, or not shared at all. Everybody gets the shrine. You don't have to. Well, everyone who's in range gets the shrine. So there's the range is pretty huge. I know we actually the range is still something that's being changed. We just cranked the range up really high. Initial implementation of it had the range way too low, and it sucked. It was like, gather around, make sure everyone's touching the shrine when we pop it. But now it's basically like, okay, are you anywhere even remotely close? Cool, you get it. And because all the shrines that drop items, it drops items for everyone. Because loot's instanced. It gives the buff to everyone, not just the person who presses it. If it's ice beetles, everyone gets beetles. If it's the extremely rare bee shrine, everyone gets bees.